Hey guys, how you doing? Ray here again. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, it's Nitro Kyo Show. Today this is just going to be a little fun video I'm putting out. This is going to be talking a little bit about the past basically, and a little bit about the future, and a little bit about the present. Let's talk about this little guy here. Nitro Kyo Show, aka me, Ray, built this. This is a Tamiya Super Champ electric car, and I built this with all my paper route money back in 1982. This at the time, guys, was really the top of the line. This is what everybody wanted as far as Tamiya, what Tamiya had. And I couldn't sleep at night dreaming about that thing and when I would be able to afford to buy it. And what I have over here is a Kyosho Inferno MP9 World Champion buggy. It runs on nitro, methane. And we're just going to talk a little bit today about some of the changes from 1982 to 2012, things that I've seen, the evolution of these cars and vehicles and all the things. So let's start talking a little bit. Let's start talking about the radio systems to begin with. Back when I had these things and was racing around on the little tracks, you basically had an AM system. Then they came out with FM, and it was like, wow, what's this? You know? And you'd have your little ribbons, and you'd have to go up to the board, and you'd have to put your crystal, what crystal you were running, and make sure another guy wasn't running the same crystal in his AM or FM system, which could make for some pretty confusing times. And your cars doing some pretty wacky things by themselves. You know, nowadays they have the spectrum spread spectrum technology, where you could have the same controller and the same receiver, and you could run 100 of these cars on the track and have no trouble. They're constantly scanning and spinning and scanning, and you know, to keep you off the same channel as your buddy next to you. And that's really wow. I mean, the technology just between the radio systems, and moving on from there up to batteries. You know, we primarily had you know, NiCads or NIMH. Just had like a hump pack battery. And you know, nowadays you still have NiCad and NIMH, but you also have the LiPolys and LiPos, which give a tremendous amount of power, speed, and lasting time. Back in my day, these would run about 7 minutes off of about a 16 hour charge, which was considered a slow charge back then. It would take forever, and you'd be sitting there watching and waiting, and then you would take these outside, and then within 5 to 7 minutes the battery would be dead. Well, then they came out with fast chargers back then, and that certainly helped out. You could charge your battery in a pretty quick amount of time. So definitely the radio systems and the batteries and the charging systems have come a long way. As far as the vehicles themselves, back in my day, nitro cars really weren't too affordable. They weren't perfected as they are today. They did have big gas-powered cars like the Bajas HPI makes nowadays, and those were way out of your price range, and they're still pretty expensive by today's standards, these HPI cars. But, you know, a lot of these were kits. I think most of them were kits back in the day. I don't think you could get anything that was like today. You have what's called an RTR, ready to run, which means you can break in your engine if it's a gas car and fuel it up, and you're ready to go. If it's an electric, you're basically charging your battery, popping it in, and you're ready to go. You know, nitro cars for me weren't affordable back in the day, and they weren't perfected like they are today. They were pretty troublesome back in the day. My friend had one. Now talking about these, as far as the electric vehicles, now they have what's called an electronic speed control. So you're minus a servo. Most, the electric cars today, they're running one servo, and that's for your steering. We were running 2 servos on these because you had what was called a mechanical speed control, which basically you had to grease this little board, and the servo would move this back and forth on that board, and you didn't want to get dirt in there, and that would control your speed. So it was basically what's called mechanical speed control. Today, like I said, they have electronic speed controls, which you eliminate a couple of things. One, you eliminate the need for an extra battery pack. You would put 4 AA batteries on these. So you would eliminate that. Nowadays, you would eliminate the extra battery weight, and you would eliminate the extra servo. The nitro cars still have to run with packs like these, because obviously a nitro car can't have an electronic speed control. Alright, so the nitro cars are still running 2 servos and a little hump pack battery to power the servos in a car. If this was an electric car, it would have an electronic speed control, and that you would take the power off of your main battery to run, everything else, basically, your servos and everything. So you just have your one main, or if you're running 2 dual lipos, a lot of guys will run. Now, as far as the frames and the suspensions have changed tremendous. I'll give you an example of this Tamiya car. This is the front shock right here, and it's about the size of a number 2 pencil. Okay, this is a shock on a 1/8 scale buggy. Okay, that's about as thick as your thumb. The suspensions are a lot more advanced. Okay, you can see all the different camber adjustments you can make. They have different sway bar thicknesses you can put on these vehicles now. The frames are thicker and higher quality. They're made out of 75 grade aircraft aluminum. They're anywhere from 3 to 4 mil thick, depending what kind of vehicle you have. The shock towers on that are 5 millimeters thick. If you look at the frame on this thing underneath, you can see it right here where I'm pointing. Basically, it was like a computer circuit board. I mean, look at how, the durability of these was not too good, guys, but back in the day, it was considered good because you didn't know what this was down the road in the future. This was a very special car back in the day, the Tamiya Super Champ. I think it was around maybe, under $200 back then to buy. And somewhere in 150, 160. And I had given this car to my brother-in-law because I had got a new one. I bought the Tamiya, the Boomerang, which was cutting edge back then. It was the first 4-wheel drive vehicle that was like in a buggy form. And my brother-in-law had taken this. He had this down in his cellar since the middle 80s, since probably 84. It was sitting in a box, and he gave it back to me, and I restored it. I see these now on eBay anywhere from $500 to $1,000 plus. So this is a pretty valuable car. I'm going to hang on to it. And it's special to me too because I built it when I was a kid. the kits were nice back in the day. You'd buy a kit, you'd build it with your dad. Nowadays, there's not a whole lot of kits left. Tamiya still does make kits. This was actually a kit, but now these are coming as race rollers too. I guess people don't have the time in today's day and age anymore to sit down and build these things. Everybody's so busy. But it's a lot of fun to build them, guys, to get that hands-on and, you know, the mechanical end of it, and you know how everything works and the suspensions and how everything was put together. So the fuels are a lot better nowadays. The brands that are out there, and you know, the way they make them compared to back in the day. Like I said, now in this day and age, I think everything is really peaked out at its peak of perfection in every facet and every part. The amount of different tires you can buy for these, you know, to go on a track, there's endless amounts of tread patterns. These are AKA tires. You can see the difference between a front tire on this and a front tire on this. You know, these are like 7-8 pound cars, you know, and these here, well, actually this still had a little bit of weight to it because this was all metal. But like I said, as far as everything from the radio systems, AM to, you know, going from AM to the spread spectrum technology, going from mechanical speed controls to electronic, going from, you know, NiCad batteries to lipos and lipolys, the endless camber adjustments in suspension and shock adjustments. The size of these things have gotten bigger, the shocks have gotten bigger, the tires have gotten bigger, the suspensions are more advanced. The servos now are all, you can get them with titanium gears and metal gears. You can still get plastic gears. I don't even know if back in 1982 there was a metal geared servo. There might have been, but I don't remember if there was or not. The speed of the servos now is incredible. The torque that they have, the durability for all day beating on track racing. You know, a lot has changed, and it's been a pleasure for me to see these changes over the years. And I think that anybody who came from my generation back then can really appreciate, you know, what you have today with a buggy like this compared to what you had back when you were a kid like this. Tamiya still does make kits. They reissued quite a few of the older buggies, nostalgic reasons. And so you can get some of them. You can't get this one anymore because it was an all-metal buggy. But, you know, we had black grease for the gearboxes, and now they have all these different weights of silicones and 7,000 and 4,000 weights for front and rear and center differentials, and, you know, and you have all these different grades of shock oils and everything for tuning the suspensions, and, you know, it's just amazing, guys, the stuff that has changed over the years. The drivetrains are stronger, the steels are better, the aluminums are better, the plastics are better. The durability definitely is unbelievable. I've seen these cars flip sideways 10 times at the track and just keep going. A car like this would have busted in 2 seconds, you know. Just everything is just really is amazing. You know, the changes in just about every aspect, even the bearings. And now they have ceramic ball bearings to put in these cars if you want them. And you know, a lot of these cars back in the day only came with brass bushings. So it's just amazing, guys. It really is. And I just wanted to share some of this old info with you. And I hope that you got a kick out of it. You know, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. You know, now a lot of these cars too, also most of them are all four-wheel drive, and the speed of going from a 15, 20-mile-an-hour car up to these 50, 60, 70, 80, and 100-mile-an-hour cars is amazing. So my hat's off to the whole technology of RCs, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.